actually does now when it comes to perimeter security. I mean, I know when the actual president is out there and the vice president as well, typically the perimeters will encompass an area that takes into account most long guns, which would be beyond 600 yards. So the perimeter would be set up and secured for the majority of the areas in which they'll be traveling. We are not seeing that at all. And it's not only that we're not seeing the perimeter secured, but we're actually seeing fatal funnels that are created in specific areas where they know that that Donald Trump will be located in the vicinity of an area of vulnerability, a critical area at a critical time. And just like we saw in Pennsylvania, we're seeing here. That one area is close to the road. It's where the golf course actually comes right up to the edge of the road, and there was no security there to ensure that no one was going in there. And apparently, if he had set this up beforehand, there was nobody that went into the tree line and actually looked to see if anybody had set up a hide.
Thankfully, a Secret Service agent was able to spot the barrel of the rifle, the tip of the rifle, and then make an immediate decision to fire at the targeted area. The suspect then fleeing the scene and eventually getting arrested on the highway. But Mike, you know, with your background in NYPD as a detective here, what's going on when it comes to questioning of the suspect behind the scenes?
Well, anybody who is attempting life of the president is certainly going to want to talk to you. So he's certainly going to want to tell his story. If you look at his social media things, he's been all over the place at protests and having a lot to say. So I'm sure they're going to find the right agent who will form that relationship with this person and be able to get information out of him. And this doesn't always happen overnight. This is going to take time. I want to just mention the interior perimeter where that agent fired once he saw that rifle. He's a hero. He saved the president. He saved probably several lives. So he did a great job. As Jonathan mentioned, the perimeter, the exterior perimeter had to be secured a little bit better. You know, this is the type of person, you don't know, obviously he scoped at that area at some point, not necessarily the day before or so. And keep in mind, the president made a decision to play golf probably early yesterday morning. It's known that he likes to play golf when he's at home in Florida. It's known that's the course he goes to. So manpower is certainly a problem. And you have to realize where the former president sits. He sits in security-wise behind a sitting president and behind a sitting vice president who's now running for the election of presidency. So he sits a little bit below the protection level of Biden and Harris, and he sits above the protection level of Obama. So it's difficult. No matter how much manpower we have, the toughest job in the world is to protect a president and a former president, especially one who's running for election.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, Jonathan, it can only imagine that things are going to get more divisive in this time. The rhetoric is going to heat up. We've already heard it from politicians day after day when they're making false claims about political candidates, and it goes unchecked in the mainstream media. So what's happening, you know, behind the scenes when it comes to preparing for outdoor rallies or other campaign events in light of these assassination attempts?
First and foremost, when we look at any of these events, anybody who's doing a threat assessment has to look at the venue from the attacker's point of view and say, you know, why would I want to attack this individual? Where would be the best place to carry out the attack, which you've seen in both of these attempted assassinations. The shooter picked that particular location that was left open and a place that was most vulnerable. They chose the right time when Trump was on the stage in Pennsylvania. And here, when he was getting ready, he was actually in the fatal funnel or in the max effective range for the SKS rifle, that AK-47 rifle that the shooter had. Trump was actually in the max effective range. So he chose that. And so during a threat assessment, you ask yourself these questions as though you were going to attack. And then once you do that, you can then turn around and ask effective defensive questions. Should we have somebody placed right here? Should we go through and do an advance and look in the woods before he even gets on the golf course?
Right.
These are simple things to do that should be rudimentary, and they are just not being done.